Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. It's been a little while. It's been a minute, but we are back with the MOVIEVERSE podcast show where we talk about films in a spoiler-tastic review. And we tend to go on and on, you know, it's a little bit more of a podcast format if you're new. But anywho, today we're doing, what are we doing? Fucking dinosaurs?
Oh, we're doing dinosaurs. Everybody do the dinosaur.
Yes, and I know we're like fucking 2 months late on this review, but hey, we still saw Jurassic World, and I still enjoyed it for the most part.
I also enjoyed it.
That's what we're gonna review today. My name, of course, is the Habitual Pixel. My co-host, Big Nasty Productions, the bearded wonder himself. Links to our channels and our work if you want to see our previous reviews. But today we're going to do Jurassic World. And this is the long anticipated sequel to the Jurassic Park films. First Jurassic Park's one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. I fucking loved that movie. Not so much the second and third one. But yeah, it's been a solid 10 or so years since we got a Jurassic Park, and this is kind of their reboot of it, hence the world part. It's a new park. They didn't learn from their previous mistakes. They're here to fuck it all up again and play God. But this time we have a mostly different cast, headed up by, of course, Star-Lord himself. You know him, you love him, Chris Pratt. Bryce Dallas Howard.
One of the many Marvel Chris's.
Mm-hmm. Yes, one of the many Marvel Chris's, exactly. Who he's been having a killer year this year, if you think about it. Bryce Dallas Howard, of course, Vincent D'Onofrio, I believe is his name, Ty Simpkins, Nick Robertson, Omar Sy, B.D. Wong, and yeah, that's pretty much rounds out the majority of the cast. But make no mistake, even though the two main kid characters are in this a lot, it's mostly the Chris Pratt's movie. Once it gets going, anyways. Once it gets going,
the kids are essentially just damsel in distress type characters
for the most part.
If you're talking, you know, character archetypes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you know what? Honestly, I feel like remember we were talking about how we had to go back and rewatch it because we have taken quite a long time to actually review this. We had to go back and rewatch it. Instead of rewatching this, I actually went back and rewatched just Jurassic Park.
Nice.
Because I wanted to see, because to me,
the similarities.
To me, it felt when we went and seen it, it was almost like there was a lot of the tone that was in the original. It was just on a much bigger scale because of the fact that, it is 2015, mm-hmm. and everything would be at a larger point like that. So I thought it was pretty cool how they kind of did that, and it's funny because people were kind of complaining that there wasn't really much of a story for it. It just kind of jumped into it, and with the kids and everything like that. But when you watch the original, there's actually even less.
Yeah, I was gonna say that they kind of just show up, right?
Yeah, they're just there to visit their. I think it's their grandfather. Yeah, their grandfather. And kind of hang out at the park or whatever, and the other people are just
a very similar story.
Yeah. The other people are paleontologists, I think they're called. Is that what the guys that find the bones and stuff like that?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, I could be wrong.
Or either way, archaeologists.
Archaeologists, what have you. But
Dino guys.
Yeah, like Dino Dan. That's a kid show. Don't worry about it. Anyways,
Dino Dan.
They come in and. Shit. Now, what am I saying? Oh, sorry. They come in and then shit just goes haywire. Which is funny because people are complaining that in this, Chris Pratt is in there. They kind of have a very basic kind of foundation of building a relationship between him and Bryce Dallas Howard's character. I don't remember the name of her. She was kind of irrelevant. Mm-hmm. She was basically only there to be the anchor as far as why the kids are at the park in the first place. Similar.
Yeah, she plays Claire. Yeah, that's her name. So I'll give the park's operation manager.
And I'll give the first one a little bit better. That is the fact that John Hammond is the guy who owns the park, rather than the person who just runs the day-to-day operations for some East Indian guy. I don't know what his name is.
Yeah.
But it does. A lot of it just kind of rings back to the original Jurassic Park, and it seems like
it's in a lot of ways.
It's not because of the fact that it's not a remake. It's almost like a sequel that's just an updated. Rebranding, if you will. That's to me, it works on a lot of different levels. I thought that it kind of hits the same sort of chords that the last one or the original Jurassic Park does, except for the fact that, in my opinion, it has far superior acting from Chris Pratt, and even the kids kind of annoyed me less than when I go back and watch Jurassic Park now.
Oh yeah, they were super screamy. And yeah, I like the kids better in this edition as well. You're totally right though. It is basically like you could have called this a straight reboot and no one would have noticed, right? Because
A lot of people do, and that's the thing. It's
Mhm.
like you nailed it right on the head when you said before a sequel.
Yeah, it is technically a sequel, but it's a lot of people are thinking it's rebranded because they do acknowledge the fact that Jurassic Park exists. People died. That was a disaster. That seems to be canon in this universe, right?
Yeah.
But what was it? Is it the second Jurassic Park with the fucking raptor wandering around San Francisco or wherever it is?
It's when the T-Rex I think goes to
the
LA,
T-Rex,
some shit like that.
Yeah. They no one seems to remember that in this universe, so I'm not sure if they're discounting the first one as canon or what. But that's kind of irrelevant, like we said, because this is mainly a better retelling of the original Jurassic Park story, just on a little bit bigger of a scale. I think they played it safe in a lot of ways here, but they also did what they needed to do in a lot of ways as well. In like, it's Jurassic Park is what I wanted, anyways, more or less. It's not a perfect movie, but it's what I wanted from a Jurassic Park movie. I don't know. As soon as the that big overhead shot, the helicopter shot coming into the island with the classic Jurassic Park theme, yeah, a fucking dinosaur. That theme, as soon as that shot happened, I'm like, all right, I'm in. This makes me happy. And even though it hit all the beats I knew it would, and the whole dinosaur fight at the end, I knew how that was all gonna happen. Pretty much, I could. I've seen a movie or two, so I know how these things go down.
And since you bring it up, even that was a massive like tip of the cap to the original, where it pretty much was the same sort of situation with a bit of a twist.
Yeah, how it came down to it comes down to the dinosaurs fighting rather than the humans, which I thought they would do that as soon as they introduced like the multiple packs, like Chris Pratt's Raptors versus the super monster that they've whipped up, and the C1 that finishes it off at the end. It comes down to like this dino battle that's I knew, while I did know it was coming, it was still handled well and was pretty cool.
Which in the original, the T-Rex is fighting the Raptors.
Yes.
Helping them. What is its name? Indominus or Indominus?
Indominus Rex, yeah.
Yeah, that guy is actually fighting the Raptors, who are the good guys, which is a little stupid. I'll grant anyone who's critiqued it in that way, saying that that's a little bit, implausible.
The taming of raptors,
that is a little ridiculous in my opinion too.
They didn't go too overboard with it.
Click.
Yeah, I don't you give me that shit. I did like the initial reveal of like Chris Pratt's character with the raptor. I thought was humorous.
Yeah,
but I was on the same boat. I didn't expect that to work because like they're taming raptors. Okay, like I mean humans have a hard enough time taming a wolf or a bear or something like that. It doesn't really happen. So, but it's not quite taming. It's just like just enough so he doesn't get killed by the raptors. But and later on, eventually he ends up getting on a motorcycle and riding with them, which is a little bit more unbelievable, but still, at that time, my suspension of disbelief had already kicked in, and I'm like, okay, fuck it, let's just go for a ride with these raptors.
I was hoping at that point people are just going to start like dropping in the bushes. He's like, oh shit, the raptors turned on us.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a funny scene? Well, Chris Pratt's riding with the raptors, the one just takes him out, just moving.
It does. It looks at him, just fucking boom.
Yeah. So they're not. What I'm getting at is they're not like Chris Pratt has 4 highly trained raptors. That's not the premise exactly. But I was really hoping they didn't go too overboard with that. But the main villain, if you will, villainous dinosaur is the Indominus Rex, which is whipped up in a lab. Yeah. And corporate sponsored by fucking Verizon and all this crap that they like. I like that.
Verizon.
What did they call it? It's like the Verizon Presents Indominus Rex or something.
Was it Verizon? I don't remember.
Or maybe it was some other company.
I know it was something ridiculous. But
I liked that they actually featured the corporate master in there. And so I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out.
I think it was still InGen.
doesn't take a genius to figure out that this new super dinosaur, which, by the way, they added all kinds of DNA from all kinds of predatory animals, including camouflage and all kinds of fun stuff. Basically, they just built a super weapon, a biological super weapon, and guess what? It fucks up. They fuck up, and it gets out, and the Jurassic World that you all want to see happens at that point.
Yeah, the main scientist who's kind of behind the creation of all or well, at least this main dinosaur, I'm assuming from the way that he spoke in a lot of the dialogue of the film, they're kind of making it where he's the main character as far as creating dinosaurs. Mm-hmm. So, B.D. Wong, the actor who plays him, he does a great job in the film, I thought. Even though he's not in it as much as I would have liked, apparently he's going to be featured in the second film,
I hope so.
The sequel to this. This one here, Jurassic World. So that'll be interesting to see. But the shit that he says about creating it, and the way that they even talk about it compared to the original and how they try to explain it, is so much better on like a different level. It makes that part of the film so much more substantial, in my opinion, as far as the story goes. But there is a lot of escalation in some of the silliness, like the raptors and shit like that. But
yeah. It didn't go overboard.
It's weird because it makes it where, Jurassic Park, I felt when I was rewatching that, a lot of it I feel like is nostalgia at this point, where when you rewatch it doesn't really hold up all that well. I mean, the dinosaurs look cool and shit because the animatronics were amazing.
Well, that's the thing. The fucking effects still hold up from Jurassic Park, and that's incredible.
And I'm glad that they still did some animatronics in this as well.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of CG clearly used on the dinosaurs and even on the park itself. But I think these are some of the best looking dinosaurs ever put to
It's all a lot of the more futuristic looking elements of it.
Yeah. I don't know how many recent dinosaur films we got, but I don't know, like King Kong or even some parts of the new Godzilla. Like, I think these monsters, I keep calling them monsters. I guess they're dinosaurs, but they look spot on. They look.
Well, no, this one, the main one in this is a monster. It's not even a dinosaur. I'm pretty sure they make point to mention that.
Yeah,
technically, it's not really a dinosaur.
Yeah, at this point, it's so far past the dinosaur's DNA. And they also, another thing I loved is that they touch on the fact that none of these dinosaurs are 100% dinosaur, because we've had humanity's had to guess and fill in the gaps in the dinosaur's DNA, which is why, when you see dinosaurs in textbooks, we don't know what color their skin was or blah blah blah. We only know what their bones look like, right? Yep. So some parts are just filled in, and that's where you start to get tinkering, playing God in there, and along comes this super monster that they make. Don't worry, Chris Pratt's here to save the day, and this is Chris Pratt's least funny role in a long time, I think, if you're expecting him to be hilarious here.
Yeah, he still has his key moments because of the fact that he is just that funny that he kind of
he's charismatic, man. Like some most dialogue he has in this film I enjoy just because he's a decent actor and he's charismatic, and I also remember him as the bumbling idiot from Parks and Rec, and I just he is so funny on that show. If anyone hasn't seen his breakout role on Parks and Recreation, definitely need to see that because it's great. And even Star-Lord had a lot of humor to it in Guardians of the Galaxy, but here he seems.
He's in Wanted, Take Me Home Tonight, which Take Me Home Tonight he's pretty funny in.
Yeah.
He plays Anna Faris, which is Topher Grace's sister. Well, the characters, anyways.
Right.
Character names, but anyways, Anna Faris is Topher Grace's sister, and Chris Pratt plays her fiance, or soon-to-be fiance, in the movie. It's a pretty funny movie. It's about the 80s and basically just doing cocaine, so it's kind of cool.
That sounds like fun. But I think Pratt's a great actor.
And, he's hilarious.
And I think
he's good at serious roles too.
But yeah, that's the thing. Even though this is a less humorous role, he still handles it well as the
he does
as the tough guy. The kid even says, "Your boyfriend's a badass," as he's kicking ass in the end of the movie. But he's also this character is grounded. It's not too over the top. Which is good. I liked his role.
I do feel it was a little more cheeky, in the respect, cheeky. And that started sounding like a douche, but in the respect to the fact that when they do things like Bryce Dallas Howard, for instance, would make, little like smirks or like little smiles and the key things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That I find is definitely escalated a lot, which to me is a little redundant in the fact that I don't feel like you need to sell this as a kids movie because that's not necessarily what the Jurassic Park tried to do. And that is what they tried to do by the time of Jurassic Park 3. But.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think this should be sold as a kids movie. Really, it should just be like a same as like I don't know, an Iron Man or something, like a actiony blockbuster, right? It doesn't need to be just for kids, and because I don't really think dinosaurs are all that adorable. Like,
should be like Mad Max.
Yeah.
Wait, was Mad Max rated R?
Yes.
Okay, never mind.
Yes, it was. An R-rated Jurassic Park.
Everything should just be like Mad Max. That's my current opinion as of right now.
Well, it's hard not to say that because as a lover of film, any film I would want to make would likely warrant an R rating because those are the kind of movies I like to watch. I don't know. So an R-rated Jurassic Park would kick ass, in my opinion.
Oh, man. Imagine the amount of blood you could use, because I feel like you're extremely limited on the blood that you'd be allowed to use when they're doing it with probably a PG-13, I would assume, is the highest.
Showing blood is iffy, when it comes to the ratings.
Like, with this one, it felt a lot more gimmicky as far as selling toys and shit like that. That's one of the big problems I had with it. Like, I feel like we do need to address that, because otherwise we're just and even
how
good it is.
And it is good, but yeah.
It is good, but that is one of the biggest problems with it, is that compared to the original, which I don't know, maybe they just did a better job of hiding it in the original.
It does have that layer of corporate polish across the whole thing, right? Like, it looks... They're going to sell toys on this shit for another couple of years, which is probably going to... But... help towards a sequel that I think they're already in plans on doing.
Oh yeah, they're already plans for doing that.
This movie did really well. If anyone who doesn't know, approaching the $1.5 billion mark at the box office, which not too many films have done.
Largest opening weekend in the history of film, I believe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, just something like nothing big, right?
So it's it reminds me of fucking the hype around like the first one when it came out or something like that.
What's even bigger? I don't think the first Jurassic Park was anywhere near like what.
Yeah, wasn't that when Spielberg was hot off the a lot of some of his best work though. His most successful work.
From I remember, I was just a kid, but from I believe it was. I remember going to see it when I was. When did it come out? 91 or something? 93? Somewhere around.
Yeah, something around there.
Yeah, I remember seeing that when I was a kid and in the theater, and I think it was because I remember my parents were super excited to see it too.
It's 93. Yeah.
It's 93. Yeah. So okay.
So I guess the Spielberg hype would have been in full swing.
Yeah, so
then.
I don't know. I was already in school then. I was 7, so.
Yeah, I was a youngin' still, but I managed to see it. I guess we're slightly off track, but yeah, you wanted to mention there seems to be more marketing towards.
Oh yeah, my mind wanders.
Yes,
but
as does mine.
Yeah, no, that is one of the biggest problems to me because it kind of just points out the fact of how exploitative that is inside of films nowadays, especially with the fact that at that one point, I'm pretty sure you actually have Jimmy Buffett running away from Jimmy Buffett.
I swear to God, that was Jimmy Buffett.
Margaritaville, or at least someone that's made to look like him. If not on purpose, I swear to God, that was.
He has 2 margaritas and he's dressed exactly like Buffett. I hope that was actually Buffett. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. It could just be maybe that's what waiters at Margaritaville look like. I've never gone, so I can't really judge. But I don't know. I just find that to be a little bit. I don't know. It's disappointing because you don't need that in something like this. So you don't need that to make money. Because realistically, that's the only reason you need that is to make more money. And in a film that they had to already know how big this would have been.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, come on.
Just off nostalgia alone, they would have sold. So I don't understand the needless marketing. That's kind of my point. That's what I'm getting to with my.
Yeah, I have a problem with needless marketing as well, and this kind of seemed like Jurassic Park had a shitload of tie-ins with various restaurants and fast food shit.
Fucking the Dairy Queen shit.
Dairy Queen blizzards, and I hate all that shit.
Mind you,
even though I'm a huge fan.
Delicious.
Yes, I'm sure it was.
It was delicious. It was.
I remember dino-sized fries from McDonald's when I was a kid, so I'm not hating on all of it.
And
But
just to correct you, because you said fast food, it is fan food, not fast food. Let's get that down.
it's good food fast, okay?
It's fan food.
Sure.
Whatever the fuck that means.
Just eat it when you're high or fat, basically. Dairy Queen's awesome, though. No hate against Dairy Queen.
You like chili dogs?
They have well, off topic, but anyways, I'm like a huge fan of Star Wars, and they are like the kings of selling out hard. So I understand why they have to do it, and why they're going above and beyond. But Star Wars is a little bit different because the nerds are fine with it. But this, you didn't need it, right? Like you mentioned, it could have made its 150 mil budget back twofold, no problem, without any of the needless promotion, and it probably still would have went on to make ungodly amounts of money.
Yeah,
It seems unnecessary to me.
Well, 'cause it seems like after the big opening weekend, a lot of it was just word of mouth.
I actually heard more people saying that Jurassic Park was pretty good.
I held off until
I didn't watch it for a couple weeks either. But.
I just wanted to see, because I didn't know. I thought there was either going to be good to really good or just incredibly awful.
Yeah, all I was wanting was not incredibly awful, basically. Kind
I
of.
didn't feel like there'd be a room for okay. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like it was going to be able to pull that off. So, in my opinion, it was good. I don't think it was, over the top good, but I think it was good.
No, I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's, film of 2015 or anything. But I think it's
it's no Mad Max.
Oh, it's no Mad Max. There's no even argument. We haven't even gotten to our year-end list or anything like that, but it's Mad Max. But I still think this holds up as like a blockbuster, have fun, eat some popcorn kind of film.
Yeah.
It's
my one problem too, aside from the marketing though, as far as the action scenes in it, is that it is a lot more focused on dinosaurs. Like you were talking about earlier, when you were saying a lot, it doesn't really have a lot to do with the people there. I mean, a lot of the people stuff is just hiding and kind of running, which is similar to the other ones.
Yeah,
but
that's my only problem with story-wise, is that the people are so almost worthless to the story.
Yeah.
Like the two kids, like it starts off at Christmas time. There's like a divorce. Like
it's never mentioned again.
The
just
parents are
that's part of the needless marketing.
Yeah. The parents are divorcing or something, and both those things, the divorcing parents, the fact that it's Christmas time, and whatever else, never get mentioned again ever. So I'm like, why even include these little subplots here when you're just gonna go to the park and then that's gonna play out how it does.
Yeah, the kid mentions the divorce on the train when they're crying, but that's it when he's crying about it. But that's it.
I guess they did shoehorn it in that one scene.
And the kid basically tells him, "Just grow the fuck up." that's pretty much that.
Yeah,
Quit being a bitch.
We're actually stranded on a island full of dinosaurs. You wanna cut your shit? I think the as far as characters go, none really all that super memorable. Chris Pratt is probably the most memorable, but
yeah, he does do the best job.
But that would be my biggest complaint, is that none of the human actors stuck out all that much, with the mostly the exception of Chris Pratt. Yeah. I don't dislike Bryce Dallas Howard's performance, or her usually either, but I just think like there's no real attachment there.
Yeah, the characters didn't really have much substance. It was pretty much, she runs things, so she's kind of cold and detached from other people. She doesn't
kind
have
of a bitch.
Yeah, she's kind of a bitch. I was trying to be nice about it, wasn't really trying to say, see you next Tuesday or anything. But anyways, she so that's the character she's kind of trying to portray. So there is a little bit of that heartfelt things where you kind of feel for her character with the relationship, or the trying to prevent the attraction between her and Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Some of that cat and mouse bullshit is
that's in there. The cutesy back and forth shit. Yeah. And they clearly have a history of some sort that wasn't
he banged her. 100% he banged her.
Oh yeah, for sure. But she realized that was a mistake because she doesn't like fun.
And he gave her herpes.
Or that, that's the prequel. Look out for Jurassic World The Beginning coming out 2017. No, but yeah, I don't dislike her performance, but she was like, just like the kids, like just there to string the story along. Same with the evil corporate guy. Like he was just so cut and paste, or evil corporate guy. But I didn't mind any of that because it was all just a vehicle for more dinosaurs to come on screen. And anytime dinosaurs were doing their thing on screen, it was entertaining to say the least.
I was just about to say, it's still definitely highly entertaining. It's just got a lot of problems in the story. Which honestly, when you're with rewatching the original, I think
pretty
just because
story
of
light as well.
Oh man, with Jurassic Park, when the girl's talking about how she's gonna hack into the computer and do this and that, that is one of the funniest fucking scenes you could ever watch in like the last 30 years of film. It is absolutely bullshit. Is what she's saying. It's basically on the same level as on South Park. When fucking Kyle's talking about it, he's like, I'm just going to decrypt the fucking data instructors.
Oh, yeah.
That's basically, it's on
that was right after, like, hackers and shit came out.
Oh, yeah.
All just nonsense portrayals of how the actual internet works.
Which just ridiculous.
So, yeah, what you're saying is it doesn't age well.
It does not age well at all.
So I'm happy there's this for the new generation of kids that love dinosaur action shit. Because that's probably like the best example of it, and the best example you're going to get for a bit. So yeah, I don't think there's anything terrible about this movie. It was just character light, but it doesn't matter because it's, you know, you best know what you want when you go to a Jurassic Park movie, you know? Jurassic World, sorry.
And I did like that concept as well. I feel like we should touch on that too. I like the fact that they upped the ante. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that I'll definitely give them, is the fact that it wasn't an isolated event with, you know, X amount of people. It was especially the third one. The third one, nobody would have a fucking clue.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody. It's just a family that for some reason felt that they have the fucking right to just show up at this island that's full of goddamn dinosaurs, like a bunch of retards. Fucking go there.
Why would you
bring
go
their
there?
Stupid kid with them. And be like, oh shit, good thing we called this fucking paleontologist guy when he happened to have been here before. Hey, thank God. But,
no kidding. Kidding. Yeah, I like that too, that the fact the park was actually open and in full swing, and it broke down when it was, you know, had whatever 2,000, 3,000 guests in the park.
And that was sick. It's like if fucking
people do
say what I was thinking. That sounded terrible.
All right. It's like
I was gonna say it's like if there was a terrorist attack at Disneyland.
Yeah, that's
a terrible thought.
That is a terrible thought, but
don't you do it. Don't do it.
You'd be lying if you wouldn't think it'd make a good movie, though.
I would make an awesome movie.
John McClane trying to take back Disney World from terrorists. Sold. 100%. But yeah, it has that similar vibe to it. Of
Die Hard with a mouse cap.
Yeah. I'd watch that for his Die Hard 6 or 7 or whatever they're on now. So yeah, I guess I don't know. Is there anything else you want to really touch on? I do like how they, like you said, made it. It feels like a world rather than a park.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They upped the ante, and I don't mean to sound stupid or cruel with the terrorist shit, but they really did up the ante. Instead of it being an isolated event with, you know, a group of a family or a group of travelers or whatever, it's an entire group of people where there's tons of people you see. I swear to God, a bunch of them are just getting massacred, essentially.
Yeah, people do. I call it PG-13 slaughter. It's where they get slaughtered just off a camera. They get
no blood.
Yeah, they get carried off to somewhere. But make no mistake, there was lots of casualties in this movie. So I did like that, because in the old films it was just almost horror elements of just one guy getting picked off here and one guy getting picked off there, until, you know, something happened.
I enjoyed the chaos of
yes
with the pterodactyls. That
was awesome.
One of the best.
One of them was straight drowning a person.
That's what I was just about to say. One of the best scenes in the entire film is when the secretary or a personal assistant of Bryce Dallas Howard's character is picked up by a pterodactyl, thrown into the water, and then as she comes back up for and proceeds to continue to just pound her face into the water like drowning, before picking her up, taking her up in the air, and getting eaten by like a megalodon or whatever the fuck that dinosaur shark was.
It's kind of brutal when you think about it.
Oh, that was an awesome death. A little overkill, but
I had to rewatch that. I'm like, is that dinosaur drowning that girl?
it looks like he's just doing it. Like, how you like that?
Yeah, like mob interrogation techniques. Like, fucking let all the dinosaurs go. Just slam
You
her
fucking cop.
You fucking cop. Another film I'd also watch is Jurassic Park, set in South Boston. But that's another film for another day. Yeah, I mean, the scope of the chaos when it all goes down is why this film is still good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's still very acceptable, in my opinion. Because it may sound morbid, but I like the chaotic situations like that make for exciting situations, you know? Like, think that an outbreak in a zombie film or something like that. That chaos makes for a really tense, exciting moment.
And some of the additions, again, I feel like make it a little bit campy is the word I was looking for. Not
Campy
cheeky,
is a good word,
A
yeah.
little bit campy. Like, what's his name? I believe is it Jake Johnson from Let's Be Cops and New Girl? Is that his name?
Jake Johnson.
Yeah.
From, New Girl and Let's Be Cops and stuff.
Yeah. Like with the addition of him, well, it was hilarious. His little cameo where he's wearing the Jurassic Park shirt, and they make reference to the fact that that was a real thing and people died there, so that you know that this is in the same, like you said, this is the same canon that they have in the same world. I liked that at the same time, but at the same time, the campy elements also toned down how good of a movie it could have been to me if they took it a little more serious, which I hope they kind of do with the second one, maybe. That is something they can improve on, in my opinion, because the first one does have a lighter tone near the end and at the very beginning, but for a good majority of the film, it does, like you said, has some horror elements because it tries to take on that darker tone.
I would like them to crank up the seriousness just a little bit too. It's definitely not as cheesy as it could have been. Like, it could have been a real Jurassic Park 3 disaster. But
It's fucking horrible. I think I already went on a fucking yelling rant about that earlier.
Yeah. But yeah, it definitely doesn't have too much of that. There's still a little bit here, Chris Pratt says a little one-liner, make you chuckle, something like that.
Yeah.
And I still appreciate that in any film, really, but it's not over the top. But if they would have taken this a little more seriously, and I don't know what scenario they're going to whip up for the sequel, but if you can up that chaos level and the tone down the cheesiness just a little bit, you got like my perfect Jurassic Park film, I would think.
Yeah,
Maybe add a better villain as well, like better human antagonist, perhaps.
Make the antagonist human, but don't make it all about the dinosaurs, because that's kind of where you lose me a bit. Is the fact that it's not actually a dinosaur. It's just a completely made up thing.
It's a monster hunt movie, basically.
Yeah, I would rather it be humans versus dinosaurs, because to me that's a little more threatening than basically us watching humans watch dinosaurs fight.
They try to keep that element out that
That's
containing animals is bad.
Yeah.
Is that creatures in captivity are more likely to lash out, and they do mention all that stuff, which is a prime example why we should never own dinosaurs. But at least they mention it, even though of course they it's all just thrown out the window when shit gets into full swing. But they know, it tries to touch on like what's the real life equivalent, Marine World or something like that. Yeah, where you're keeping, or any zoo, I guess, where you're keeping these
African lion safari, whatever you want.
shit like that, where you're just keeping an animal completely out of his element and not expecting a bad thing to happen every once in a while. And they do mention that and take it, kind of drive that message in a little bit. And I like
like the Toronto Zoo, something like that.
Yeah. Like, I like that they at least touch on that, and it's not just a pure humans versus dinosaur bloodbath, even though I still am not opposed to seeing that.
And to me, I feel like it would be better if it was just that, because that is, to me, what the other ones tried to do a little more. The second one especially, I feel, was a little bit more about trying to keep it in captivity, or even trying to... It was more like King Kong, really. You're bringing it to the city, and now it's causing fucking destruction.
It's a great example. The first example, I guess, would be King Kong.
Yeah. But I like I said, I do think it's definitely comparable to the first one in terms of how well done it is. I mean, in terms of direction, it is
Yeah, I think
absolutely phenomenal. It's very well paced.
it's paced well. I think it's shot pretty well as well.
I don't know. Did he write it as well? The director. I know I can't pronounce his name because I think it's a little bit
No,
different.
it was written by Frank Marshall and Patrick Crowley. I'm not sure what else they've done. Yeah, his name is kind of hard to pronounce. Colin Trevorrow, something like that.
Because
He did
I
the
know that
film
is.
Safety Not Guaranteed, if that
Oh,
rings a bell.
yeah. Isn't that with what's her face in it? Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey
Yeah.
Plaza, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good film. And I guess he's up for one of the Star Wars sequels as well. So that's
Oh,
cool.
nice.
Yeah. He's got a knack for a fucking big budget. That's for sure.
Well, anyways, I like the fact that the way that he did it, especially considering that he didn't write it, because to me, something like this that is a big budget picture, like that was the greatness about the first Avengers, and where because of studio interference, the second one kind of lost it for me a bit with Joss Whedon was the fact that he was writing it and doing it. To me, it gave it that much more of like I guess it's just like I don't really know what to call it besides just just kind of like that essence, just like something that draws you in. Like it feels like they're more invested.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, it's because you can tell like the Avengers was Joss Whedon's baby, right? And if he worked on that for several years, he wrote it, he probably rewrote it, directed the sequel, all that crap. So yeah, there is an investment there. So, but I think like you were mentioning, this is looks like the screenplay is written by a few different people, so it probably went through some rewrites and whatnot.
yeah, that's what I mean. He did a great job of
Yeah.
handling something he didn't have control over how it was written, because that's one of the only problems, really, story wise. As far as like the camera work, the
Yeah,
pacing, the style, the everything like that. It's all beautiful. It's done very well.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he did
Some of the dialogue's cheesy, but hey,
yeah.
that's not his fault.
Like I was saying, yeah, he did the best with what he had, right?
Yeah.
Because he came from Safety Not Guaranteed, which is an indie film made for less than a
Which is
million.
very well written.
Yeah, and also made for less than $1 million, which just doesn't happen. To
That
adapting,
movie's funny.
yeah, it's pretty funny. It's not a bad movie. To adapting someone else's work to the screen with a budget of $150 million, I think he handled it very well. I'm sure when he got hired for this job, he's like, "Look, these are the things you have to do. These have to be in this Jurassic Park film." And I think he took that and made it into a pretty good movie, which doesn't always happen. Actually, more often than not, doesn't happen.
Especially if your name's Josh Trank.
Yeah,
But
yeah. A lot of directors that.
I don't know if you've seen the new Fantastic Four, but that's a
Oh
gigantic
yeah, yeah.
piece.
No, I know. Too many cooks in the kitchen ruins a meal, right? If you got all this corporate interference, but I think he handled it well, and hopefully has earned some more freedom in his next projects. Anything else you'd like to touch on Jurassic World, sir?
Nothing really. I mean, I think it touched on the fact that a lot of it I feel is built off the momentum of nostalgia that you already have. Because you even said it, we're locked in the second you hear the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just
So-
like I was a kid again. I'm like, sweet, back to Jurassic Park.
Exactly. So to me, there was no way that this film was going to be anything other than good. Like, I mean, I was hoping it wasn't going to be terrible, but I felt like there was a chance just because you never know.
I did too. Yeah, you never know with these things.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think overall it was definitely enjoyable. Like Chris Pratt delivers a great performance. Bryce Dallas Howard is definitely tolerable. I mean, she's not outstanding. She doesn't really stand out, but it's a bland character. She doesn't have much to work with.
Yeah, she's just a device
Plus,
for other
her, she
things.
does a good job, but other than that, and the kids, honestly, in my opinion, are better than the original. So I think it's definitely on par with the original as far
agree.
as entertainment value, if not a little bit higher because of the escalation and chaos like we were talking about earlier. So definitely, I feel like everybody should check it out, and I would give it a 7.5 out of 10.
I would have to agree with most of the points you just said. I think a 7.5 is a fair rating. That's what I'd give it to. It's good. Nostalgia is gonna be your best friend here if you're
Driving force, man.
Yeah, if you're any our age or above, you're gonna have fond memories of Jurassic Park. I'm sure. Or you watched it later on as a kid or something for our younger viewers. then you're gonna be locked in right away because it's what you loved about those movies coming back and doing it like we said, just maybe even a little bit better. And it's exciting to see that a movie like this can still find success, let alone overwhelming success.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I liked it. 7.5 is a good goddamn score if you ask me, and I think this is a fun movie. I might not rush out to buy it on Blu-ray or anything like that, but I've seen it 2 or 3 times now at least, and I've enjoyed every time I watched it. It's very entertaining. Yes. I think that about wraps it up. Thank you for sticking around for our elongated, spoiler-tastic, podcasty, rambly kind of thing that we like to do here on Jurassic World. But thank you for watching. If you like our channels, or you like our work, our channels are in the description below. And next up, we'll probably be doing, I don't know, Straight Outta Compton. Perhaps the Entourage movie. I got a bone to pick with that one.
Yes.
So yeah, stay tuned for that stuff. Thank you for tuning in to MOVIEVERSE. I'll see you next time.